Okay. So hello everyone. My topic is stock market investment. Uh, this is the outline of today's presentation. At first, I will give a brief introduction about why I study this topic and what we need to do, why we need to do some investments. And then we will have an overview of ASX market. And then we will have three case studies to answer these questions: how to read profiles and what factors impact the price, and how economic crisis impacts the market, and how COVID-19 impacts the market. And then I will give some simple conclusions. So before we get started, I want to give a brief introduction about some basic concepts. Uh, so the first one is time value of money. So that's money you have now is worth more than the identical sum in the future due to its potential earning. So the main concepts developed from this one is inflation rate and the interest rate. So for example, one certain goods is $100 and the inflation rate is 2%. So next year it will become $102 if you want to buy that one. And the interest rate, there is a simple example. If you save $100 to the bank and the interest rate is 1%, and then you will get $101 next year. So first, I analyze the inflation rate and interest rate versus time. And this is what I find. So from the middle of 2012, the interest rate is below 4%. And in the recent 4 or 5 years, we can find the interest rate is less than inflation rate. That means your money is worth less. So that's why we should do some investments. And then we'll have an overview of ASX 200 index. So we can say in the past 28 years, the Australia stock market increased from 0 to the highest near 7,000. And there are two big declines. The one here is 2008, and the one here is COVID-19. So then we will have an overview of Australia stock market. So the number next to ASX means Australia top how many companies? We got 20 companies and top 20 companies, top 100 companies, and all companies. So we can say if we just choose the top 20 companies, it accounts 47% of the whole market, and the financial sector accounts a lot. And this is for 50 companies, and then 200 companies, and then all companies. And we can say if we add more companies, we have more sectors, and the financial accounts less. And the top 4 sectors in Australia stock market is financial, material, industrials, and healthcare. And then I want to talk about how to read profiles. So basically, there are two colors if you read a candlestick chart. So the red means going up, and the green means going up, and the red means going down. And for the data size I got, it has main 4 factors: is open price, open price, close price, and high price and low price. And the milestone of time is just as I said before, is 2008 financial crisis worldwide, and we are currently experiencing the other economic crisis. So this is the
30 seconds.
This is the stock price of the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. So we can see here. So this is the overall trend of that. And if we narrow down, we can say this big red range is 2008, and this part is this year, March. So this is the other drawing. So this is 2008, and this is this year. This is for Commonwealth Bank company.
Okay, that's your time. So wrap it up.
Yeah. So the next one is Flight Center. And we can say Flight Center hasn't been recovered since the COVID-19. It has been strongly impacted by the COVID-19. The same theory applies to aviation sectors. And the last one is CSL Limited. It's a biotechnical company. And from its profile, we can say it's pretty strong. It performs well during the 2008, and it also performed well from this time. So if you invested $2,000 in 1994, now you will get 1.5 million. So conclusion. At first, we introduced why we should do some investments because the inflation rate makes our money worth less, and the stock market, the annual return can be around 4%. It's very good. And then we discuss some impact factors like weather and economic status and COVID-19. So for example, if a beer company, it sells better in summer, so that means the stock price can increase in summer. And economic status, we analyze two economic crises, 2008 and 2020. And we analyze COVID-19 has different impacts to different sectors. And other thoughts about if you want to buy some companies, you should consider it's private or public company. If it's a public company, it can perform stronger during crises because almost is unlikely for a government to be broken. And for sectors, we analyze the financial sectors are impacted by this economic crisis and COVID-19. But for some traveling agencies, COVID-19 has strong impacts on them. And then when we do some investments, we probably can think about some essential service. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So that was very interesting. I think you had a lot of good graphs in there. It was interesting to see a proper candlestick graph and all that sort of stuff. I don't think you really kind of got a grasp on how much time you had. So you spent almost 2 minutes telling us what you were going to tell us of 5 minutes, and then ran over by 2 minutes. So try and keep an eye on how much time you've got to present. But it was interesting to see how the different companies responded. It was interesting to see the explanation using the inflation versus interest rates, and the kind of motivation for the presentation. So that was good. And I think it would have been interesting to see some more comparative graphs. So if you had two companies on the same axis, like is it like, are cheaper shares impacted more by things than expensive shares, or like what's the kind, you know, how did the markets move around in a kind of aggregate sense? Would have been interesting to see as well. So start like moving one thing and putting it against another. But otherwise, that was good.